And this time I caught up with Bina on her birthday and her husband, Kevin, who saw a play called London Tide. So we'll see what the tide is for theater over here. Take it away, Kevin Martin.
Thank you. So anyway, it's called London Tide, based on a book by Charles Dickens called Our Mutual Friend, and it details the characters' lives and struggle through the period of the early 19th century following the Napoleonic Wars. And you'll meet all sorts of characters, misfits, vagrants, romantic dreamers, and you name it. And it goes along the storyline of a area of London near the water, the docks, and the mischief and criminality and irony that unfolds in everyone's lives. And I think it's a fair representation of the book, which I read like 3,000 years ago. But I had recommended everyone to see it from word of mouth that I had received prior. I return now to our hostess, Grand Dame, Lady Eva.
And now we are with Bina, who's going to talk about a play she saw called Mnemonic. I've been too busy going to a reunion, so I didn't see any theater right now. But here's Bina, birthday girl.
Hi. But we saw another show called Mnemonic together. And the reason I saw that play was because it was a revival. 25 years ago, this play was done. And one of my wonderful, wonderful girlfriends, British actress named Caitlin Cartledge was in it. 25 years later, they have revived this production. And the characters that Caitlin played, that character is not speaking her own voice. They're using recorded voice of Caitlin Cartledge from 25 years ago. And the reason I went was to hear her voice. I love National Theatre and I love the show and I could hear my girlfriend's voice. So thank you. What a great time that we are meeting in London and talking about theatre. I can't believe it. Okay, so back to Eva.
So also, the best show's pre-recorded. We have a wonderful interview with a lovely Englishman about Journey's End, a British play, and with some of the Broadway shows we've seen, and some interviews from the Theatre World Award and the Lortel and all over the place. So you'll have a nice show after this. But now I'm going back to Ivy's Cafe and my zucchini fries. Bye.
Bye now. Bye now. We had a very fancy place. Wish you were here.
Theater Works. There's this wonderful radio drama they've done of R.C. Sharif's World War I play called Journey's End. And now we have someone who was in that production, Darren Richardson, who played the cook Mason. So first tell everyone what the story's about and all that.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it. Yeah, the play is Journey's End by R.C. Sharif, written in 1928. Based on troops in the trenches of World War I before they go up over the top in battle. And I play, as you said, Mason, who's the cook, and a little bit of the, I would say, comedic element to it.
Oh, absolutely. I love the fact. I thought it was interesting because you're all upset because you got apricots instead of pineapples. But before that, they're complaining about the pineapples that are thrown at them. So you got the two versions of pineapples, the bad version and the good version.
Yeah, the bad version being the grenades, and the good version being the pineapple chunks, that are in the cook's pantry, as it were.
And heaven forbid, no pepper. Oh no!
Poor old Mason. He's got to be out there rustling up the food for these guys, and he doesn't have much in the pantry from the sounds of it.
But I was surprised he had more than I thought he would. I mean, you've got bacon and porridge. But some like it with lumps, some like it without lumps, some like their bacon lean, some like it fatty. I mean, these people, it's like, I guess because they don't want to think about the war, they're obsessed with food.
This play is a lot about the absurdity of war, And in those absurd situations, it becomes very strange. And yeah, they're literally in this trench having these sort of conversations about the strangest thing, about a bit of fat on bacon and what have you, while up above you can hear in the background the distant sound of war and bombs being dropped and what have you. So I think that's what's really sort of special about this play, that it does. You are in, as I say, the theater of war and the absurdity of war, but at the same time, there's this real connection happening between this group of men from different structures of English society as well. Mason is clearly a sort of Cockney lad, and then you've got the other officers and stuff. So it's just they're thrown together in this absurd situation, and they've got to make the best of it. And it's the camaraderie that R.C. Sherriff captured, I think, from this play. I mean, he himself was, this is very true to life. He served in the trenches. He was in the East Surrey Regiment, so he served in for the First World War I. He was in Vichy and Loos, and he was injured in the Battle of Passchendaele, which was, I think that was like a 4-month siege, that battle. So this isn't a thing that happens. These skirmishes were not things that were just with a 2-day battle. These battles lasted months. These guys would have been in that trench for months on end, dealing with this situation.
I know, and plus also they also have hanging over their head the fact that you wait and then you do something and then you wait some more. But the thing is, in between, especially they're told you have to stay where you are. You can't fall back. You're stuck there. You have to just take it. So it's like, how do you put your mind around it? Some people like to fake illnesses so they can escape it in the hospital, and you can just escape it by not joining, just staying in the kitchen.
Well, there's that great scene with James Callis as Hibbert, when is he faking that he's got neuralgia? Is he faking that he's got pain? Does he actually have it? And he's basically told, we're not giving you a pass here. You're going over the top with the other men. There is no leaving the trenches, and if you leave, you'll be shot for desertion. And that was that's what happened. People were shot for desertion, for what now would be PTSD and stuff like that wasn't recognized back then. It was just you were shot as a deserter. And it's a very, very touching scene. That's just very powerful. James did some amazing work in this, as he always does. So yeah, I think that's kind of what you're referring to there.
Yeah, it's like, the thing is, you can get shot for desertion, or you can get killed in action. It's just a scary, it's a horrible situation to be in. And the poor officer in charge, Stanhope, he's got these life and death decisions. I mean, here's poor Raleigh, who just got there, and he's got to send him on this dangerous mission with his second in command, whom he respects and loves very much, on this dangerous mission. And there's just no getting around it.
Yeah, Jack Cutmore Scott as Stanhope was incredible in this. And our director, Martin Jarvis, had been in this play and done it as a radio play for the BBC, 48, 50 years ago or so. So, but yeah, Jack did a great job with this. And that's the thing, he's in this position of power, but at the same time, you say he's got Raleigh, who's turned up, played by Josh Cole, who he knows from their civilian life, and he's got to do that thing where he's trying to distance that relationship and keep that level of the fact that I'm an officer and blah blah blah. Let's leave that out of it and what have you. And yeah, Ian Ogilvy comes down as the colonel, and he says, "These are the orders, and we're going up, and we're doing it on this day." And they basically kind of, there's in this there is no retreat. You know, they say, what about the retreat? What's the plan if it doesn't go right? Where do we fall back? And there is no falling back. There is no retreat. That's not an option. We're going forwards. And, you know, they've even sort of barbed wired themselves in to the attack they're making, so that they don't fall, other regiments don't fall in, they don't fall out of other regiments, people don't escape. So there is only one way forward. So yeah, all of that is playing, all that intensity is playing under this, like you say, the absurdity of war and the camaraderie of these men at the same time.
Well, thank you very much. Everyone, you should definitely Journey's End. It's such good listening. It really is. In fact, it gets better every time you listen to it. So you actually have to listen to it more than one time, because there's just so much going on and you might miss things. So definitely get a chance, go listen.
Start with Journey's End and work your way backwards is what I would say. But yeah, Journey's End, it's like you say, it's very, there's so much depth to it. There's so much there. There's so much to digest. It's great. I'm hoping that, you know, young people in schools get a chance to listen to it, to understand what our great grandfathers and great great grandfathers went through. You know, it's a cautionary tale of you know, where things can lead. I mean, you know, in England, you know, whole villages, whole towns of men were just never returned. So I think it's like I say, it's a really important play as an educational tool, and also for its entertainment value. And I hope people will go to latw.org. I hope they'll go to Audible or wherever they get their content and seek it out. And hey, it costs less than a cup of coffee these days to get a 2-hour audio drama. Can you beat that?
Stalker is a thrilling, interactive, off-Broadway experience now at New World Stages. It's more than just a magic show. It's a mind-bending, interactive experience that'll leave you both entertained and slightly unnerved. It bends classic magic and adds a touch of mentalism, creating a show very similar to one that Eva and I saw not that long ago at New World Stages, Mind Mangler. The Swedish duo behind the show include Peter Brinoff and Jonas Lejung, who weave humor throughout the performance. They keep the audience engaged and laughing the entire time. Their Swedish personalities add another layer of intrigue to the show, as in it's not an Americanized sense of humor that they're interjecting. They really have great delivery that creates such a fun stage presence as they're on stage. We happened to go on the night that Penn and Teller, the producers of the show, were there. So it was fun to watch their reactions as audience members and also see them do a trick before the show began. As the show progresses, the atmosphere subtly shifts. It builds on a sense of psychological thrill, all culminating in a fun surprise. I can't say more than that. It really thrives on audience participation, so be prepared to be drawn into the act, becoming part of the experience, not a passive observer. This high-level engagement is definitely what sets it apart from other types of performances. So if you're looking for a magic show that's entertaining, maybe a little thought-provoking, and definitely borderline creepy, so get ready for, a little bit of a freak out. I give it a happy face.
I was trying to remember, because it's been a while since we've seen it, but we had to write something out beforehand. The audience members wrote something out that they were going to use later on. Do you remember what it was, the question they asked us?
It was like, celebrity you want to meet, name, and color or something.
So yeah, so that was fun. And then they pick somebody, and then they have like a list of things, and like pictures or something like that. I'm trying to remember, but this one guy kind of like, you know, he picked this one thing, you know, to get $100 or something, and they kept, you know, asking him again and again, you want to change your mind, you know, or, you know, they take away something. So, you know, the suspense was building. Was he going to stick to his guns? Was he going to change his mind? What was he going to do? So there was this like element of suspense running through the whole thing too. And of course there was, you know, card tricks and all sorts of things, but my gosh, I mean, there was one that was just so outrageously like, how the hell did they do it? The entire audience just gasped. I mean, that's just it. This is a very gasp-producing show, and I absolutely loved it. And like you say, it's got the best punchline at the end. I mean, just like, whoa, worth the price of admission just for that. So you will have the best time. Really, bring friends, bring bridesmaids, bring dates, bring your pet. I mean, just bring everyone to this thing. It's just a happy face for me too.
Hello, here we are with
Ali Louis Bourzgui.
who just got a Theater World Award for for the Who's Tommy.
Yeah, that's right. I'm super honored and excited.
Oh, that is such an intense role.
Yeah, no, it is. It's it's like a roller coaster, and every single night it requires all of my energy, but it's worth it because the audience is just so electric. I mean, the audiences are coming, and it feels like a rock concert every night. So it's just been a blast.
And it's such a strange idea for a musical. The main character is deaf, dumb, and mute. And yet you sing. That you're the narrator, and it's sort of weird because you have yourself. You have your inner child out there so you can see it.
Yeah, no, it's really wonderful. The kids are just doing such a wonderful job. But it's about like the experience that you from childhood to adulthood, and how like all versions of you are existing at all times, and your childhood self guides who you are as an adult, and when you're a child, your adult self comes back and is like guiding your future. It's kind of that whole like idea. Yeah,
And it's fun how they shatter you to get you back.
yeah. She smashes the mirror and kind of gets me out of my catatonic state, and I enter back into the social world.
Yeah, and it's sort of funny that the parents kind of put you in that place in the first place.
Yeah, and then but at the end it's really about like forgiveness and trying to move forward with things rather than like stewing in any kind of hatred.
And it's such a beautiful show. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The Wiz, with book by William F. Brown and music and lyrics by Charlie Smalls, and there's additional material for this production by Amber Ruffin. And I also want to mention some incredible people in the cast like Deborah Cox and Melody A. Beck.
The Wiz offers a fun revisit to the classic story of The Wizard of Oz. Now playing at the Marriott Marquis Theater, this portrayal is a vibrant recreation of the story with fantastical costumes that I could not take my eyes off of. Sharon Davis was the costume designer, and that was really the standout element of the show for me. Of course, there were energetic performances, but many of the aspects did not live up to my, I guess, ideals of a Broadway show. One of the things for me was that there was not much of a set. It was mostly a digital display that had beautiful animations, but I like, of course, the creativity that comes with painted backdrops and fly space that's creatively used. The standout performance for me included understudy Mariah Little, fellow Ithaca College alum.
Well, I'm from Ithaca College alum too, but she was in your class. So
That's right. And we also had understudy Alan Mingo Jr., who played the Wiz. I believe he'll actually be taking over for Wayne Brady when he departs shortly. While the story was familiar, I found the music to be somewhat boring. It's really a crucial element. So I was kind of a little disappointed that the music was not something that particularly stuck with me. But yeah, I felt myself to be overstimulated by much of the digital display. And if I'm going to a show, I kind of want to be disconnected digitally. So to have to like stare at another screen definitely was another miss on my part. They felt a little distracting and out of place. And I worry that that would be like the future of a Broadway production because it's likely less expensive to produce in doing that.
I have to interject here because now I've got to disagree.
Go ahead, yeah.
In this case, it really needed projections to move smoothly through all the different various enchanted places. I mean, you've got the Scarecrow's cornfield, you have the Tin Man's forest, you have the mean trees, you have the witch's place, you have the wizard's place. There's all these different elements. So they needed here, and they did the projections really well to really set the scenes. This is what I felt.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed by the music, and I know Eva said the same thing while we were at the theater. So if you're looking for a visually extravagant show with comedic moments, The Wiz is definitely offering a fun adventure. I give it a happy face minus.
Yeah, I was really shocked that I was so bored by the music because I know the music. I've heard the music before. I mean, I've sung the music in the shower. Ease on down the road. I have no clue. I cannot explain why the music was so boring because it's really not. But in this case, for some reason, it was. Now, see, I happen to love the choreography by Jaquel Knight. I mean, the tornado scene was so cool because they had these people in these gray, like costumes like bats almost, and the way they turned and swirled and everything and jumped and leaped. I mean, and took away things. It was very clever how they recreated that tornado. I mean, I was very impressed by that. And I think Williams did an amazing job of directing this too. And the energy in the audience was just so intense. I mean, everyone was just so having the best time here. So I mean, I'm giving it a happy face -2. I wish I could figure out why I found the music boring. That is such a mystery to me.
Hello, here we are with.
Philip Johnson Richardson.
Oh, I just talked to Casey Likes, who's presenting to you.
I love him. Yeah, I love Casey. Yeah.
I love it. He says, he's in a classic movie, you're in a classic movie part. We should say you're the Tin Man.
Yes, I'm the Tin Man. I play the Tin Man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is just such a fun part. I mean, you want your heart.
Yeah, I want my heart. And in order to get it, I got to dance, sing, and act.
Boy, can you dance.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, it must be so much fun to be on that set because you have these amazing choreography and the sets and the costumes. It's so dazzling. I keep saying I love the tornado. I mean, I know you're not in the tornado scene, but that tornado scene that's the most cleverest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great scene. Jabot did a lot with the choreography. He worked with me a lot because instead of doing like a tap number, we did in hip-hop, a whole hip-hop dance break, which turned out to be a highlight for myself and a highlight for a lot of people that see the show. So it's really cool to like work on the show and like renovate the show that has such a meaning and a legacy behind it. You know what I mean?
And you must love the charge of the audience. I mean, the audience, we're just like so 100% behind what's going on up there.
Yeah, the audience is actually, to me, a character in this whole show because they respond back to us. We know when we have to wait. There's a joke in the beginning that says, like Adam says, I'm looking for whatever you think you're talking to. We always wait to see what that is, so then we know what the show's going to be like based off of what the audience response is for that. And it's always really good, always really good.
And people call out crazy stuff.
Yes, call out crazy stuff. We have a lot of stories about that.
Ooh, tell one.
Okay, well, one time, I think it was in Chicago, and I think Evelyn said, all I got to do is stay black and die. And somebody on us was like, that's right. And we had to hold for about 60 seconds. And like it was a minute we almost broke on stage. It was funny. It was really funny.
Well, congratulations on being such a wonderful show.
Thank you so much.
On your Theater World Award, so well deserved.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Here we are with
The Wiz.
Andre the Shield.
I am The Wiz.
I know. Oh,
come on.
No, excuse me. I know you're the Wizard. The last time I saw you, you did a song from the Wizard at the Queen's museum thing. So yeah, what's it like seeing someone else doing your part?
It's exciting. It's encouraging. It's the way things should be, especially because it's intergenerational. Now, if it had been from last year to this year, it was like, what are you doing my role? But this is 15 years later. So we've established something. I think, and I hope and I pray that finally The Wiz will enter the canon of American musical literature, because we now have a legacy.
Oh, well, you already had that because it's so well known. I mean, they picked it for the television thing. They've done a movie. I mean, high school kids do The Wiz. I mean, The Wiz is a beloved musical that everyone loves to do because it's a classic.
That's good to hear. I'm not quite sure if it's a classic yet. I'm going to keep working on that.
Oh, well, Mr. Doubter, you could trust me.
I'm not a doubter, but when we talk about the compendium of classics, people will mention Wicked, not The Wiz. So I'm trying to correct that.
I watched this TV show because of you, Elsbeth. Oh yeah, and you were the murderer.
Did you figure it out early in the process?
Well, they kind of gave it away immediately. I mean, when you looking at the thing, and oh please, they were not subtle. And so, what else have you got planned?
But we're working on Cats, the Jellicle Ball.
Well, that should be fun. What part are you playing? Old Deuteronomy?
Old Deuteronomy. And I can't wait for Ken Page, who was the original Deuteronomy, to come see it.
Isn't it fun? All the original people can see the new people, and you're an original, but you get to see a new person.
Yeah.
So it's just theater keeps going and going and going. It's
Yeah.
so heartwarming.
It does. And
And you perform at 54 Below too, we should add.
oh yeah. When I've got something on my heart that I want to say, 54 Below is the place to do it.
I know it's nice to have a place that's sort of, I call it like Theater for the Inner City is like my best friend. It's nice to have a place that you feel is like your best friend.
Yeah, but I did my debut there in 21. And then I did a piece there earlier in February this year. So I've only worked there twice.
I know, but I get excited every time we see your name, so.
Right.
Well, anyway, enjoy the evening.
Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
I've come to work, though.
Okay.
I have things to do, a responsibility, which I must carry out with due diligence.
And you always do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Broadwaycon is coming up the weekend of July 26th, 27th. But first, you can have a first look and showcase, which will take place Friday, July 21st, beginning at 1:30 p.m. at Broadwaycon at the New York Hilton Midtown. Tickets are now available at Broadwaycon.com. First Look and Showcase will feature appearances from & Juliet, A Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong musical, Gun and Powder, Six, Softs, The Notebook, and The Outsiders. Additional appearances will be announced at a later date. Autograph and selfie experiences presented by Audience Rewards are also available with select special guests. These experiences are available for purchase now at Broadwaycon.com. Since 2016, BroadwayCon has been the premier fan convention for all things Broadway. From July 26th to 28th, 2024, join some of the Broadway's biggest fans, performers, and creators from classic and current shows as we gather at the New York Marriott Marquis to perform, discuss, debate, and celebrate theater. BroadwayCon 2024 will feature panels, performances, interviews, workshops, sing-alongs, and more, all packed into an epic 3-day weekend. With a giant opening celebration and nighttime fun and games and that Blizzard hotline, BroadwayCon is produced by Mischief Management. It is my favorite event of the year. You do not want to miss this. And we'll have the link on the bottom and some photographs. And our next show is Alfie's birthday, July 27th.